Okay, so with that, what we did is like we have completed creating a project on the hero editor, two steps that we have completed in this project so far. Now we are going to the next step, that is a display list. Display list, what we are going to do, we are going to uh, create a mock heroes. Okay, mocking is nothing but a dummy data. Okay, uh, so we are going to create a dummy data for a heroes. I am having some 10 heroes list here. So earlier you might have seen that we have only one hero object and we have add a hero name and ID. Now we are going to add 10 more heroes to that list. Okay, and what we are doing, we are using the array instead of a single object here. Okay, that's the only difference. Array of heroes that we are trying to mock. So what we are going to do, we are trying to create a separate mock file inside src app. There is a mock heroes.ts file, and we are just copying this information. That's all. There is nothing else. And we wanted to display all these heroes on the UI. That is what is the next task. So, and we already have the heroes component already created, and we are going to import that mock heroes now. So from previously we have created this file into this file, app components, heroes components.ts file, and then we are trying to uh, assign the heroes to this one. That's the only thing that we are trying to do. And then we are going to write some logic. Okay, we are going to write some logic to display list of heroes into that. That's what we are trying to do it. Style the heroes. Okay, even binding and all, we will see it. Okay, and let's see. Let's try this one. So I'm going to create a file called mock.ts inside our src app. Inside I think file, yes, file that I created, and then I'm going to copy this all heroes information. Again, it is saying that error it is. Whenever you see some error, right, try understanding why it is giving that error. So it says that this is an object that you declaring. This is a class name that you have, and this is actually an interface that we have, and it is not imported here. Try to import. That's what it is saying. I have imported heroes from this one. Okay, we are converting into the type. This hero will have two things: ID and name. That interface that we are talking about here, right? Yesterday we have created a hero.ts. This is what representation of it. And now go to this. That's how you added this around 10 heroes now, and that's the first step that you have did. And then what you're going to do, you're going to invoke or import heroes component inside this mock heroes inside hero.component.ts file. That's the thing that you have to do it. Here is our hero.component.ts file. I'm going to import it here. Now we are doing it in a step-by-step manner. Okay. Earlier we are using the hard-coded value of hero, and we were displaying that value in stone. And then what we done is we converted that into kind of an object. Okay, and with this object I was able to display only one hero and its ID. If I want to display more than one hero, I need to either create a hero 1, hero 2, something like this, one by one. Let's say I have 1,000 heroes, I have to end up creating 1,000 heroes objects here. So instead of doing that one, what we are doing, we are trying to create a separate file, and from there we are trying to call the 1,000 heroes or 100 heroes that you have. That's the only difference. Okay, so that is why what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment it out these lines. These lines, okay. Step 2, that 2, the step 1 that you did is like this, and in the step 3 that we are doing something different. We are adding the bulk heroes here, number of heroes. So how we are going to do it? Since we already have heroes in this component and this one mock heroes, we are invoking this one. Now all heroes are inside this one, this variable. Okay, you can do one thing, and earlier you were doing something like this, right? Hero. Now also you're using the same hero. I'm not sure. This is the hero that you have. So you have to use the equals operator there to assign it to that. That's the assignment operator that you have. That's exactly the same thing that I'm trying to do it. Okay. So you can either say hero or heroes, that is fine. Now that is one time, right? That's what we did. So now if I go back, let's say I will say because heroes are converted because both many heroes are there. Okay, if I have the hero object, let it be like this only. So what will happen if I go back to UI? So you ended up with so many errors, right? The UI is saying that property name does not exist on the type hero. So it is saying that inside there you don't have the property name or ID. We're trying to do hero.name, right? Inside this you don't pass it, you don't have this one. Okay, this is an array. Inside this array you have the hero object, and then you have to get that information. That's what it is trying to say. Now what we will do, we will try to iterate through this array. This is a list of heroes. We will try to go one by one. We'll go to the first hero and then display all the details of this first hero and go to the next hero. Likewise, we have to modify this code such a way that you will display all hero details. It's following, right? All right. And to write if conditions or for conditions, looping, right? Loop that you have ng star ng for star ng for is the loops that you'll be in the Java, C, all those logics that you write. Likewise, TypeScript has its own loop. That is a star ng for is for a looping your list of objects. Okay. So we're trying to copy this and go back to this. My heroes. Comment it out these lines for now. Time being. Display since the hero property does not exist, you have the access to each individual and the list of them that you will be able to display. So that's what it is trying to explain, that you try to display heroes component one by one. 1 second. Okay, let's add. Let me comment it out this line. Still don't have that one. I go back and do it, and still a problem does not exist. Okay. And then This is what we are trying to do it here. Even if I don't want this one, let me like let me explain you this one in detail so that you will not get confused. Uh, See what we are doing. We have an object that is a hero that we said earlier, and we are trying to rename because it is number of a number of heroes, right? Just to make avoid confusion. So we are going to convert this into heroes variable. That's the only change that you have, and or you can also use any variable there. So variables generally we use at a meaningful names that you'll be using. Okay, now we are taking all these heroes from here, and then this is the variable, that is the array that we have, heroes array, and we are trying to get out of this array only one hero at a time. Let hero of heroes, it looks like a simple English language for you, but this is what it is. For loop is working. This is actually a syntax. Okay, let is also a keyword. This is a variable of this is a variable, that is a hero is a variable here of heroes. Okay, that is what you're trying to do. This don't have to be hero, this can be h. If I use the h here, and you have to use h here. Okay, so that is what it is happening. Now you have the one object, and for one this object you displaying the id, displaying the name. Now let me save this, go back to UI, and you see this is how it looks like. I have the heroes heading, and then I have this hero, this hero, this hero, all this 10 heroes that we added inside our mocks heroes here from here. Getting it now? That's how the data is getting rendered. All right. So we will try a little bit of improvement. We are trying to add every hero as a button. That is why we added a type button, that is a CSS thing that you have, and the span that you're giving the space in between. So all those are kind of CSS things. So we'll try to implement visualization a little bit, and then we try to add few things here. Okay. The other thing that we are trying to add it here is adding button to on selection of hero. Okay. Inside this, we're trying to add one button, type equal to button on click, and you're going to display the hero information. So you're passing the hero also. Okay. Let's do that now. Adding one hero here, or you can do it here inside. Okay, we already have the buttons, right? So on click is an event. Okay, when I select this event, and I select this one, right, and I'm passing this information to TS file. So all these three files are very much relevant. These two files are very closely relevant, HTML and TSS, and the HTML and CSS. This is how it will be. So you will have the relation between the TS and HTML and CSS, direct relations. Okay, now you have to create this function on select. Okay, inside the TS file, there's a JavaScript function that you have to write. We are slowly getting into JavaScript or kind of a core programming now, slowly. Okay, and we are writing the inside the hero.component.ts file, we are going to write one function called onSelect. Okay, and its type is a hero. Let's do that inside ts file. I've written this function called onSelect. So this name has to be the same thing, and as like this one, and you have to send the object which you are declaring it here, hero type. Okay, and now that will come into here automatically, the value. I'll say alert, just to show you. I'm putting some alert here so that you know that it is coming to this place. In yes. Okay, so that's one thing that we did, and let me check if there is any additions on this one. Add a detailed section or details of the hero. We will try to add little bit later. Okay, and styling. Hero's ID and then type equal to button on select. Let me go back and refresh this one. Let's see what will happen. What change that we did. That button that we are talking about, right? Okay, so when I clicked on it, this is a button. The data which is going from here to there, right? It is going to the TS file, and then what happens? So it is automatically going to TS file. So in the TS file, what we are trying to do with the data, right? We are taking this hero, we are assigning to selected hero. So selected hero is a variable that we have again. What we will do is, I'm going to put it here in the top so that we can maintain all the variables one place. Selected hero is a variable again. It will hold the variable selected. So what we will do, we will take this object and into HTML again, and we will try to display whatever this is selected, current selected hero object. Okay, that's what we are trying to do it. Let's go to okay, this part. If selected hero is available, okay, if it is not null, right? If the selected is available, and I will display one more section, that is a selected hero name. In the upper characters, it's ID. In the name, this was okay. We will add this entire div to our component. I want to display in the bottom, selected hero in the bottom. Let's try that and see. We will select, let me minimize. I will select this hero. See, this hero details are getting displayed here. Getting it, no? So if for suppose if I select this hero, okay, and it will. So this is not necessary for now. PS file, I will alert, remove the alert, or I will just give okay. So what I'm doing, I'm going to select this hero and displaying this data. Okay, so it is flowing the data from TS file to HTML file, HTML file to TS file. That's what is happening. So our guys are getting understanding. This is slowly getting complex, little bit of it, but it is not that much complex. Okay, so for a beginner, it look like it is starting up. Things are starting up. Okay. All right. So what we did now today, there is some style improvement that we need to have. Let's improve that one, and we will discuss more. Yes, button. And this one, and the buttons, we are trying to improve the button style. CSS application program, we are not looking into in deep of the CSS, we are just copying from here existing one. Let me try to understand detail. Now go back and reload and refresh. See, this is nicely looking because we added a CSS in a better way. And what we did is we are adding one color to selected items. When I click on this one, that is what it is. We are applying this class here. This is a class we are using. Selected is a class that we are using. Whatever you select hero, that hero will display different color. Okay. So this is a black color that is getting highlighted. I select this guy. This guy's name. Do you see the change? So if I change this one, all right. These are the things that we did for today. We'll just recap what we did so far. Today we discussed about display list. Okay, but for that what we did is we created one file that is a mock file, mock heroes, list of heroes. That is what we did. Before that, what we were trying to do, we were trying to render the data as a simple text hero, and we were displaying one hero. And then what we did, we were trying to display the hero in details like a hero ID, hero name, so on. So those details we are trying to see. And now the third step, right? What we are trying to see is like we want to display a number of heroes, not only single hero and his details. I want to show a list of hero names and the details. That's what we wanted to try. So for that, what we did, we created a mock object here. That's a heroes array object. And then we kept all this information into this file. And this is the data type of hero, which we have created already in the TS file in the very first day. And the hero type is, it will have ID and it's a name, hero type and hero name. That is the type of data type of hero. So that I can add hero ID, hero name, so 10 times and different IDs. And then where we were earlier, we were displaying the hero details, we are displaying inside a hero component. So earlier we used to display something like this, hero name, hero ID, like this we used to display. Now what we are trying to do, we wanted to loop through one by one all the heroes. That is why we have the heroes variable. Okay, that's heroes variable. We are looping through one by one. Okay. Anyone is having question, doubt? I mean, okay. All right. So we are looping through the heroes one by one, getting the first hero, and then we are displaying the hero ID, hero name. That's all we are trying to do. And the list while displaying, we are trying to convert that as a button so that I can click on that particular hero and display his details in a separate section. I can modify also at the same time. That's what we are trying to do. So since we added this one, when you click on this button, this function will get executed, and the hero which you having the current hero will be passed to this this function. This function where we have written this a click is a event. You can call it as a click event. Okay, when you click on this one, click event will happen. We have written inside the TS file. Function we have written in the TS file. The selected hero information will come. That hero selected hero will be assigned to the variable again selected hero. And then the selected hero, what we are trying to do here, if the selected hero is available, if condition this is okay, ng if selected hero is not null, right, kind of thing, and then I'm trying to display selected hero name, the upper characters, okay, uppercase letters, and then id. There's two things that I'm trying to display, and then I'm trying to use the form, right, input parameters, and trying to edit that one for a kind of an input variable. Okay, so once I select this one, right, once I select some hero, this div will be displayed. Until then, that the div will not get displayed. To clarify that, for reload, there is no div here. Okay, there is no selected hero so far. Okay, that means when you select some hero, then only this last div that we have written here. Okay, this div will get displayed, and you see the name in uppercase letters, then ID, and then hero name. The hero name next to that, you will have the input box, something like this. Okay, getting it now? Is that interesting?
Yes,